2025 Australian Grand Prix race notes. Dick's race notes. Hi Sabrina. Okay, here are my notes. Number 1. I wonder how much crash damage was done during the race. I doubt that any chassis were destroyed, but I have to believe that a gearbox or two, plus tons of suspension bits and bodywork were trashed. Number 2. With the carnage that happened on Sunday, the teams have a ton of work to do. Fix their cars enough to ship them, get them on an airplane, fly to China, set up everything in Shanghai on Thursday, and be back on track Friday. A team like Mercedes or Ferrari have enough to do with 2 healthy cars, that is, no crash damage for either car. But Williams, Alpine, Aston Martin, etc. have their work cut out for them. Number 3. Whoever thought that putting gravel traps just inside the curbing should be fired? How many people had crashes or their race ruined by that? Number 4. The battle between Norris and Verstappen was fun. Max put a ton of pressure on Lando, but Lando kept his cool, made no mistakes, and took a well-deserved win in very trying circumstances. Number 5. The off by both McLarens at the same time was pretty crazy. I hated to see Oscar's otherwise excellent race thrown away by that one incident. Number 6. What on earth happened to Haas? They certainly had a fraught weekend, surpassed only by their own driver, Behrman, having a miserable weekend. Number 7. Is there anyone in the world that can drive the second Red Bull? What a nightmare debut for Lawson. I feel really bad for the poor kid. Number 8. Steak was a pleasant surprise, with both Hülkenberg and Bortoleto punching above their weight. Number 9. Aston Martin looked like they may have made great strides in the off-season, with Alonso probably on his way to P3-ish in Q1 until his lap was ruined in the final sector by hitting gravel sprayed up on the track by Pierre Gasly. It will be another race or two before we know what the deal is with that team and their car. Number 10. Racing Bulls was shockingly good. Yuki put in a great performance and Hadjar was very impressive until the race began. Number 11. And Ferrari made a huge strategy mistake that cost them dearly. But if it had worked, we would have all been talking today about how they rolled the dice and stomped the field. That's racing. Sabrina's race notes. Thanks, Dick. Here's what I thought. Number 1. I saw a meme earlier this week that noted Sunday was projected for rain, and we had 5 to 6, depending on your perspective, rookies on the grid for our first race of the season. What could happen? I laughed and thought, exactly. This is a race I would make sure and be up for and watch in its entirety. And let me say, it didn't disappoint. The skill level out there was so very high, and it went down to the final lap. Number 2. If you hadn't attempted to watch the F2 race earlier in the day, you might not have been a bit worried like me that rain would delay the F1 race as well. So I was pleasantly surprised and a bit nervous that race control decided to move forward with the race, which leads to the formation lap and Isaac Hadjar. My word, my heart sunk for him. If anything, it was the first glimpse of the growing pains I'm expecting for this season. As everyone knows, I am someone who truly respects the sacrifice of every racer who makes it to the grid. My thoughts went to how this was going to affect him mentally, which is why I was so impressed with Anthony Hamilton and his fatherly gesture to Isaac. This was a display of humanity, dignity, kindness, sportsmanship, really everything I personally want to see in the sport. Number 3. Did anyone else's heart sink when Carlos had his crash? I couldn't believe it. Silver lining here is hearing James Vowles and Alex Albon give Carlos kudos for his input and Alex's strategy in the latter part of the race. I know we talk about how your teammate is your biggest rival, but this was truly a display of teamwork and maturity. We all know that over the last year, I've grown to become a fangirl of Carlos. This just took it up another level. It would have been so easy for Carlos to sulk, especially after what seemed to be a very promising set of practice sessions and quali. Instead, he continued to contribute to his team. It's clear that he wants to bring Williams back to the front and has grown so much as a leader. Number 4. The McLaren boys. Wow. I am so glad they maintained a clean race. I wasn't sure if it would be, but hoped, since it was going to be a wet race, they wouldn't get too elbows out. There was that moment when the team was discussing positions and pitting where Oscar definitely spoke up, but I respected that, especially at his home race and this early in the season. I respect his desire to stand up and be noted, but here's what I had mad respect for him. When he went into the grass, he kept his cool and was resilient. He reversed and got back in there and at least scored some points. I love how the stands lit up with cheers for the hometown boy. He was the epitome of resilience, problem solving, and again, a cool cucumber. Until that point, I really thought this was going to be a McLaren 1-2. Those boys kept it together for so long during the race, especially Lando. He held his own the entire race against Max and his teammate breathing down his neck. Thinking back to mid-year last year, I don't think this is the same Lando. He has grown, and I appreciated Lando's post-race feedback at the media tent. He noted that he made mistakes, allowable ones, because of the tricky conditions. He wasn't so hard on himself, and he gave himself a bit more credit. In my opinion, this is progress for Lando, and I hope he continues on this path. I think this was a tricky race as well. Though the crashes mostly came from the rookies, they also came from seasoned racers like Alonso and Carlos. I think that goes to show that we really have three different classes of highly talented racers. I see them as youth talent, mid-career talent, and seasoned talent. Each group struggled but also had stellar performers and/or racers who knew how to take advantage of the variable circumstances. The weekend had good weather, but practice times were shorter due to red flags. Then to have the Grand Prix in the rain. It was, in my humble opinion, a very good inauguration of the 25 season. It allowed all these talented drivers to be placed in difficult circumstances and show us early on in this season their fortitude. Number 5. I am looking forward to our monthly race review when we can get into the weeds a bit more about what we are seeing from the teams on the technical side. Again, in my humble opinion, this race weekend is an independent assessment. I don't think we saw the cars and/or drivers at their peak. It was like a dress rehearsal. They needed to learn their cars, and I'm thinking we'll have a better understanding of their pecking order for the development race in this first half of the season by Japan, assuming it does not rain, or Bahrain if it does. Number 6, Ferrari. Did anyone else feel like we were back in 2023 when it came to strategy calls for this race? I did find the onboards enlightening and wondered what post-race debriefs must have been like. Oh, to be a fly on that wall. Fred, I trust you to figure things out fast. Number 7, Mercedes. I am pleasantly impressed. I feel like China will give us a better idea of whether they're on the right road. Antonelli made it up there from P16 to P4. This kid made my heart smile. There is a childlike simplicity to his persona that belies a hardened racer. He has such an endearing demeanor. Number 8, Red Bull. What a nightmare weekend for Lawson, especially after how hard and long he waited for this seat. I just finished his interview on the Beyond the Grid podcast and walked away with increased respect for his determination to be on the F1 grid. Max kept the pressure on the McLaren boys. I expected nothing less. Number 9, Tsunoda. When he came onto the post-race show, I shouted, "Yuki!" I am so proud of this kid. He out-qualified Ferraris and raced in such a way to keep pace with them. The way things landed for him this year had to sting. But it seems rather than become emotional, which he would have done a few years ago, he is showing a maturity that I hope makes people reconsider their opinion of him. I know I have. Number 10, Hülkenberg and Albon. They each made me delighted that despite challenging circumstances, they brought their teams forward in a meaningful way. I'll have to ask Dick to confirm, but I believe Kick Sauber made changes since testing. I don't think it's made a wholesale change yet, but I need to see more data and more races. Are they on the path to a course correction? I hope so. I think they benefited from Nico's experience in the midst of the chaos of this race. From what I understand, Albert Park is a place that Nico does well, and to have an experienced hand like him in a race like that, the team has to feel good about their decision to bring Nico into the team. For Albon, it seems like Williams is the most improved team. How encouraging for him. He qualified P6 and in the midst of chaos came in P4. Is this race specific? I really hope not. I want to believe that Alex has the capacity to continue churning out great points, scoring positions, to show up on a podium for Williams.